If there's anyone who has opposing views, anyone who disagrees, right? I'm willing to listen to anyone's viewpoints. Right? I'm respectful. Right? I don't call people out their names. Right? I'm not looking for a high contention debate or argument. Okay? I'm not looking to scream at each other. I'm not looking at scream at each other. We can just have a conversation, right? Just have a conversation, a debate.
I'll be right back.
Okay, first up.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
What's up? What do you disagree with?
AB is murder.
Which one?
The first one.
First one. Okay. So, abortion is 100% murder. Stop lying to yourself and others. It is. Right? We are 100%. If you're having an abortion, you're 100% killing a child, a baby, a human baby. It's not. People constantly use all of these fluffy words. It's a fetus. It's not living. It's this and that. You're 100% killing a baby. Okay, so it is murder.
I don't. Well, I think the identity of the thing isn't really important. I would say that simply killing someone wouldn't inherently say that would be considered murder, because I argue for self-defense. So I don't think that just killing someone is murder.
How is it self-defense?
I'm not saying that an AB is self-defense. I'm saying that simply saying that you're killing something is not inherently proving that it's murder.
What is it? Okay, what would be another context if you are murdering something? Or killing something. What would it be categorized as then?
An unjust killing.
Is it justified?
Yes, in my view, yeah.
What's the justification?
Yeah,
selfishness?
That wouldn't be a justification. Okay, so the justification, in my worldview, would be that it seems to be the case that it violates bodily autonomy because interest is absent in the child.
What do you mean body autonomy?
Do you know what bodily autonomy is?
I do, but what do you mean in this context? You have 100% body autonomy.
What is bodily autonomy?
You have control of your body.
Okay, so do you think that people need to verbally say something to have bodily autonomy?
Verbally say something?
Yes.
No. Right.
So we would both agree that a 3-year-old has the right to some bodily autonomy, right? To some degree, right?
Yes.
Right. So what I'm telling you is, at a certain point in the fetus, I do say that, yes, it does have to have some type of characteristic. And in order to have an autonomy, you have to have an interest.
An interest in what?
In something.
In life?
No. I'm saying, like, let's say even if a 3-year-old child couldn't speak, right? And you were causing some type of pain that wasn't indicative of like a medical necessity, right? This would be an infringement on bodily autonomy, even if it couldn't speak, because the 3-year-old's interest is opposite to what you're trying to give it, right?
A 3-year-old's interest is different.
It doesn't favor the pain and the suffering it's receiving.
Yes. Okay.
Right, so that's the interest, right? What I'm saying is, if a being doesn't have an interest, whether it's biologically or not, then I don't consider it to be immoral.
This is, my personal opinion, all life has an interest for life.
Well, that would just be a descriptive claim. That's not, not a descriptive claim. That would just essentially be like noxious stimuli. That's like saying that, so what about an organism that feeds off the body of humans, right? If some type of thing tried to, like a mosquito tried to suck some blood out of your skin and you smack it and unalive it, right? We're not going to say that this is like immoral, even though that's what it's made to do. That's what its interest, that's what it's like, that's what its autonomy is made to do, right?
Yeah, but we would also say that it has a right. It's doing its job for life.
But
right? We're not saying that it doesn't have a right to life.
Okay,
Even if
so
it's a mosquito, right? Even if it's a mosquito is doing this thing. Well, we all. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's like we're choosing which one is more valuable, right? Our own blood or our own preference, or the mosquito. Usually, we choose. We're being selfish,
right.
right? And
So
we're choosing ourselves. I'm more saying that let's just not lie about it, right? I mean, you could do what you want. You could abort. That's up to you. But the premise is that we are lying about it. We put all these more extra layers to it to pretty much lessen the blow, right? Oh, it's not murder, it's not killing because this, that. When honestly it is, right? You do what you want to do. That's why I put the preferences. You're lying to yourself and others by adding more layers to it to soften the blow. And
right.
I think this is why, when it comes to abortion, this is what people do, right? They say it's a fetus. They put all these layers, what you are doing, to essentially to lessen the blow. Where, if let's say if it was a born baby, right? If it was a born baby, it will feel harder to, let's say, unalive it. Okay, unalive the baby. But because it's a fetus or barely developed yet, right? We could say all these things. And we say
Um
all these things to lessen that blow.
I disagree. I think that when we use these terms, they're a reference to a stage of development. I think that regardless, even if you call it a fetus, a baby, I wouldn't really change my position. Like even if you call it a child or a baby, I don't really care. Like it's like if the characteristic is absent, I would still say that pro-choice before 20 weeks is permissible, regardless of what you call it.
Well, okay. How's a newborn, right? Let's say a newborn, straight out newborn. How does it? What is it? What was your precursor?
20 weeks.
No. I'm talking about why Zit has the right to life.
Yeah,
A exact newborn.
because it has interest, so it seems to be the case that
It wouldn't even understand it wouldn't even understand the concept of interest. What's the
well,
newborn's
interest.
interest?
Dude, look, okay, interest does not mean somebody's able to say I don't like, I do
Oh,
like.
I get it. But what's the indicator? What would you say when you look at a newborn or whatever the classifications of a newborn? Why would you say, oh, you know what? The newborn has interest, but a baby 19 weeks. You said 20 weeks, 19 weeks.
Because sentience
Why
is
is that has no
absent
interest?
because it has no subjective experience.
A newborn doesn't either.
Yes, it does.
What's the subjective experiences?
It has interest.
Quantify it.
So
Describe
yeah,
it. Give an example of
I
it.
can give you basic form. So yeah, force feeding the baby when it's already full, causing the baby harm when you're doing things that aren't like absent of medical necessity. That's
Could you not
infringing on
cause a
bodily
harm?
autonomy.
Could you not cause harm when the baby's in the stomach?
Before 20 weeks, no.
You can't cause harm. I mean, I'm pretty sure abortion is harm.
Well, when you're saying harm, this is
Or
essentially like
falling down the stairs, or you could cause magnitude of harm to a baby that's still in the stomach.
okay,
And
no, what?
feeding, you could also you're literally feeding the child, right? You could you could feed a child, right? While of course you're feeding the child while it's in the stomach. So all the
Okay,
pre-indicators, being
no,
fed, being harmed, is
no,
also there while it's in the
no, it's
stomach.
not.
How?
Because this is called prior to sentience. This is called noxious stimuli. It is the response to an action, but before sentience is actualized, the child or fetus, whatever you want to call it, is not able to actualize the concept of any kind of a subjective experience to consider it to be suffering. It doesn't suffer anything. It's literally just it's like if you put your finger on a piece of paper and the paper naturally wrapped around your finger. It's a response to a physical action. There is no actual suffering.
Where's your okay? What's your studying that a baby that's still in the stomach experiences no suffering?
Okay, yeah, prior to sentience, look it up. Look up the difference between sentience and noxious stimuli.
Okay, scientific consensus suggests that a fetus can likely feel physical pain or experience suffering. So literally they could still feel suffering.
Yes, they do when sentience is actualized. Yes.
Oh, okay, but they can still feel like I didn't. First of all, right? One, my prompt didn't say which week, which you said was fine, but still, I said abortion is 100% murder. So, okay, how about okay by your standard, right? After 20 weeks, so do you consider abortion after 20 weeks murder then?
Yes.
Okay, well, literally, I don't know what the disagreement is.
Well, I'm saying before that, and I would say no.
Okay, sure. I mean, I literally didn't put a time frame. I just said abortion is 100% murder. All right. So if that's, we'll find common ground. If you believe before 20 weeks isn't murder, okay. All right. But that means we can find the common ground that abortion after 20 weeks is 100% murder.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'd rather find common ground than just endlessly argue. So cool.
Okay, what about number
I mean, is
five?
that
How is
the
that like number
five?
five? How is that like? I don't see how this like correlates.
Okay. So number five, if you support women for aborting their child, you should support men for leaving their child.
How?
Well, okay, this is the thing. You support women having, let's say, bodily autonomy, having reproductive rights. Well, if you support women for having reproductive rights in the same form, you should be supporting men for having reproductive rights as well.
Well, I wouldn't consider that a reproductive right because I
What
would
what
say
would- what would be men's reproductive right then?
probably at the most it would be a preventative aspect. It would be like a vasectomy or something.
Well, then you're by the equivalent, you should think about women tube tying.
Well, no,
You should.
yeah, they have the right to do it if they want to, yeah. But I'm saying that
Both people
like
have the right to do that right now.
yes, I know that, but I'm
But
saying
then you just add another layer. Abortion isn't tube tying.
yes, I understand that.
Okay.
What I'm
So
saying
you think
is leaving your child would be immoral and it
and
doesn't equate because if the interest is there, that means that there is some type of obligation or ought to take care of it. If these things are absent, then there is no ought. There's not an ought. So I don't see how this
what?
is analogous.
Okay, so if a father leaves a child before 20 weeks, is that not the same thing?
What do you mean leave it before 20 weeks?
He was out of the child well before 20 weeks. Because in your idea, right, the child, right, it's fine to delete the child, to abort the child before 20 weeks. It's okay. No
Well,
problem
you
to it for you.
well, you can't really leave. You can't leave it before 20 weeks.
No, you completely, right, you could sign out your rights completely. You have no before the 20, because this is a thing where it doesn't make sense for you, right? Your aspect. So a woman can, like I said, right? She has that. A lot of people are fighting for the reproductive rights to abort a child. Yet men stop at at vasectomies while women go past beyond that.
I don't understand what the
That's
question is here.
the question is, why is it that women have more layers of reproductive rights than men? How
That's
can you
most
support
likely
that women
because this
choose
most
women
likely
choosing to be a mom or not a mom, but
what
men
is
are not
that?
allowed to choose that?
Yeah, because you can't we cannot endure pregnancy. Why,
It
why would
doesn't matter.
yes that does.
Why does it? Why does it?
Because if I am able to grow something inside of my body and you're not, inherently, whether or not I have the right, I'm gonna have more layers. Like that's just naturally going to happen. That's like asking me if somebody has more video games, why do they get to play more games? Like obviously they have more
Oh,
access. Like it's like what?
okay. So if men are more likely to, let's say, die in wars. So men should be the ones to vote, and women shouldn't, because men have more layers. There's more responsibilities on men's shoulders.
I would say that it would be descriptively accurate to say that that we should have a specific entitlement in terms of what we can vote on. Like there should be if there's more things that we can address in voting aspect because we're going to be drafted first. Yeah, then I would agree with that.
So
Yes.
so we should limit women's voting.
Well, not necessarily limit. It
Then,
would they would have access to like the same rights. We would just have more.
what do you mean more?
Like if it was the case that we were able to vote on something like that's derived or in relation to some type of world where we have to be drafted and etc. And we had like, oh, because we have to deal with this, then we have more say in something in that aspect. That makes sense.
But let's say it's a president, or let's say it's a particular, our congressmen. So their congressmen are the ones who push these, because we don't necessarily are able to vote for which law or which bill, whatever, come to pass. We vote for the our representatives, right? So it's a whole thing. So are you pretty much saying that we men would? That's why no, that in practice that doesn't work. Okay,
In
we would
practice, what
have to
doesn't work?
limit women's voting rights to make it
Well,
work.
no. I mean, if you're talking about like limit in the sense that we wouldn't allow them to have the extra rights that we got, then sure. But in terms of taking away anything that was already present prior to that, then no.
But you kind of have to, right? If you're going to limit it,
Why?
you have to limit it. Like I said, right? Because we don't necessarily vote for which bill to pass. So we would have to limit or pretty much take it away for men to be able to, let's say, a president or our Congress pushes, like, let's say, draft applications,
Okay, let me give you an
right?
example.
We would have to go ahead.
I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say me and you are brothers, and our mom lets us get her stuff from the store. You're only allowed to order things. I'm allowed to physically go to the store, right? Because I'm allowed to physically go to the store, I get granted access, the physical hold of her credit card, so I can use it to go to the store. You don't get the physical access, right? Because you can just use the app, which already has our card information on it. It doesn't require you to have the physical. You don't deal with this metric. So to make this relatable to the other part of the conversation, right? It makes sense for somebody to specifically deal with something and have something like a measure of what they can do, whether it's a positive or negative right or entitlement, because of what they deal with. It doesn't really inherently say that the person should have more taken from them. It just means that this person is going to have something that obviously is going to be biased to their experience, which makes sense.
Not quite, because I said in practice, we're not able to do something like that.
Do something like what?
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
How would we
yes, we
implement
have.
that when
We've
it
done
comes
it.
to vote?
Women,
Example.
do you think women weren't even allowed to have credit cards at that point in time?
Okay, great, but I'm
Everything had
talking
to be
about
in a
what's
man's name, so this has been done before.
yeah, but we had to. Okay, women weren't able to have credit cards. Guess what? We had certain politicians that pushed that to fruition, right? They made that happen by
Yeah.
by doing certain kind of laws, right? So it's like we didn't choose, right? We didn't say we didn't. The public, right?
Yes.
The populace
Yeah, they
didn't.
did.
No, which populace made the laws for us to do it?
Well, making the laws is not necessarily what's being argued. It's the motivator. The motivator is the people. Do you know
No,
that
I
women
get
fought for
that.
their
I
rights,
get the
right?
motivator, right?
Yeah.
But
That
She's trying to get 4 snacks.
Okay, well, what kind of snack does she want? She does? That's what she's
So like, she has like a popcorn.
yeah. So
Granola bar.
people should. Women fought for their rights, right? That's the motivator and the influence to like kind of implement these things into our system. So if that's
yeah,
the case, so we could literally do the same thing with this war metric.
but here's the thing, right? You have to, because women got it so they could be equal, right? Equal abilities as to men, as the rights. Okay, it's not just one particular thing. And so it wasn't. Let's say, even though the credit card thing, it wasn't particularly a right to credit cards. No, it's just a right for equality. So it wasn't
Yeah.
specific, right? So now it wouldn't be specific, right? It would be broad. It would be general. So we can't. I've yet to see that. Okay, well,
That's
we
not
have a law
true.
that what women can vote for. Women can't vote for
So
this, but only men can.
is abortion not a bias, right?
Abortion is not biased. I'm talking about
Yeah.
reproductive rights. So
Okay, but
abortion
listen,
would fall under
is
reproductive
abortion
rights.
not a biased reproductive right? That's specific for women.
It is, yes.
Okay, then so that means that we have something in our system that's biased and specific for women that men cannot have.
But okay, then by the same argument, why couldn't we put one like, let's say, for men?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it makes sense to do that depending on what experience you're referencing.
So by literally the fifth statement, right? If you support women aborting their children, right, by whatever, put a reproductive right for that. You
That's
should support men to
That's
have a
not
reproductive
analogous.
right as well.
That's not analogous.
How is it not?
Okay.
How is it not?
Whether or not you abort your child is distinct from the actualization of taking care of your child after there is an ought. So if it's the case, right, that you can't leave a child in the womb. You can leave the mother. You can't leave the child. The child is not even born yet.
But you could abort a child when this is the thing. A mother can decide if she doesn't want to be a mother or not.
Yes.
Yes. Why can't we give the same right to the father?
Because he's not the one birthing the child.
The world is unfair. So what?
Yeah, you're right. The world is unfair. Cry about it. You can't birth a child.
Okay, it still doesn't change the point.
Okay, the point about it is, since this experience is tailored and biased to women, meaning only women can experience this, this isn't a right that's going to be synonymous to a man's right. It's not possible. So
By your
crying
same
about this is
logic, right?
irrelevant.
There was a time when women couldn't have credit cards. They could have cried about it. They
But
fought
that
to
isn't,
change it.
that's different. That we change it because it doesn't make it's because having a credit card is not something only a man can do. Anyone can have a credit card. Anyone can't get pregnant.
It doesn't matter.
That does
Why
matter.
would that matter? Why?
Because if men can't get pregnant, how would they be able to have some type of boundary or a parameter on what they can do with a pregnancy? You can't get pregnant.
But but see, you gotta think, right? Pregnancy doesn't just affect a woman's life. It affects a man's.
How?
How? Literally, child support. By the same token, right? By the same prompt.
Yeah, but then the child
If it
is
doesn't
already
affect a
born.
man,
The child is already born. You don't pay child support in the womb.
yes, and that's why I said he can leave his child when the child's
No,
born.
absolutely not.
Why? Why?
You said why? Yeah, because in my worldview, if it's the case, like with the characteristics I gave, it seems to be the case that there's an obligation here.
Yes, there's an obligation to child.
Yes.
By the same token, if the woman negates her obligation, a man should as well.
Before 20 weeks, there is no obligation.
Who cares? I'm talking about a child regardless, right? There's an obligation.
Look,
I mean,
yeah.
your worldview is your worldview, right? But you said nothing, right? You said
Yes,
it's
I
fine
did.
to kill the child. You said it's fine to kill the child before 20 weeks. Okay,
Yes.
we can find common ground to that. But still, if a woman can decide what to do with her body, right? 100% her choice. Men have no say in it. A man can have 100% in choosing what he does with his life.
So do you think that a man should be able to have a say legally in whether or not a woman can have an abortion?
I do.
Okay, so how would this work?
It's
Okay, so
equality.
let's
You
say,
have to.
okay, so wait, let's say that we do this, right? Let's say the woman says no, that she doesn't want it, and the man says yes. How would they legislate what decision to make?
Well, just like how we can't, abortion is illegal. She can give birth, right?
That doesn't
She can
answer
give
the
birth to a
question.
child, and if abortion is illegal, she would have to give birth. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be true?
If it was illegal,
Yes. If it's
that's
illegal to
that's
abort your
not
child,
what I asked. You said
I'm
that the
telling you,
man
I'm telling you
should-
how, right? So you said
that
how
doesn't
to
answer the
legislate it, right?
question.
Listen, right? You said how to legislate it. Abortion is illegal. If she doesn't want the child, she
No,
has to
that's
give
not
birth
what I'm
to it.
asking about.
He
Like,
would-
no, I'm
Fine,
asking
go ahead.
if obviously if it's the case that a woman wants to have an abortion and it's legal for her to do it, but you said a man should have a say in it. Okay, let's say a man has a say legally. If the man says no, do not abort it, and the woman says yes, I want to abort it, How do we determine which side is more viable to take? Who gets the final say? How do we
Okay.
determine that?
Okay. Here's the thing, right? Do you agree that there are some states that abortion is illegal and legal?
Yes.
Okay, so the states that abortion is illegal, right? Obviously, that man will also have the right to say yes or no. If he doesn't want it, right? If he wants it, he has that right. He
You're not
will have.
asking
He
me.
will.
You're not answering the question. Who has the final say? How do we determine the final say between the man and the
By
woman?
court. By court.
Okay, so how is a court going to determine which one to take?
Okay, because if his abortion is legal, she will have to give birth to that child, right? And
That's
he wants
not
it.
answering. No,
That's
dude, no, stop.
that.
If it's no. Look, if it's illegal in the state, it doesn't matter about their word because it's not going to be permissible regardless.
Yes.
Okay,
So
that's not what I'm. Hold on,
that
that's
shows
not
you, right?
that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, in a state where it is legal, if a woman says, no, I don't want this child, and a man says yes, and they went to court, how would the court determine which side to take?
They would be pro child, pro life. I mean, again, it's like
What?
no, you can't. This is a thing where you can't have a state that is counteractive, right? So if a state is, let's say, because one state can't be pro life and pro abortion. So that's where I'm saying that if we are doing that, right? If we are being able to, like the pro life, right? If a state is pro life, it kind of pretty much does that already. Men should be supporting a child in a pro life state.
Can you answer
Men
my
should not.
question? This does not answer my question. I asked you if the woman said no and the man said yes. How would you said that they would have to go to court because the man should have a right in whether or not the child is born? Fine. How would the court come to a final decision?
How will the court come into position? Well, you could probably, let's say, if he has the ability to take care of the child.
So if he's
right,
making more money,
she would. Yeah, if he's financially stable, the courts decide that she would have to give birth.
So basically, now you're walking into a very
do you agree that?
Here's the thing.
Wait. I'm not finished, right? I'm not finished because there are plenty of courts that, right? They will think about the care of that child before anyone else, right? The well-being of that child before anyone else.
Very dangerous point. So now, what you're saying here is now you can now this type of behavior or this type of ideology would entice men who have money to purposely have or get women who have less money pregnant and to force them into having children because men on average already make more money than women. So even if that was the case, regardless if they're a good parent or not, just because they have money, you're entering a very dangerous zone. That wouldn't be very good. That means that men would be able to control women.
Here's the thing, right? I mean, this is you say a very dangerous spot, right? And in my worldview is that if you agree to have sex with someone, right, you negated the supposed danger. You chose to have sex with someone.
Who cares?
How's having a child a danger?
Dude, no, listen. Whether or not we give permission for a right or an entitlement has nothing to do with how much money somebody makes. It needs to follow It needs to follow some type of line and reasoning that's actually indicative of something that we're saying that's not allowed or allowed. You saying that just because people make money, they can determine who lives and who doesn't, that's literal degeneracy.
Did you just say that I'm determining who can live and who doesn't?
You said that. What? You said that if the man wouldn't. Okay, you said whether or not they get to determine as if they make more money. That doesn't make any sense. Just because
the court does that now. Doesn't mean the court does it now.
Somebody dies or not.
The court. I didn't talk about die right now, right?
I mean
that's hypocrisy. You're literally talking about number one that you agreed to. It's okay to abort a child, right? So,
dude, is abortion not unaliving it?
Yes.
Yes. So whether or not we're able to do this should not be because whoever makes more money. That doesn't make any sense.
No. It makes. Because my thing is right. We do it right now. We care about
How
right
do we
now.
do this?
The courts that listen, right? I let you talk, right? The courts do it right now. By the well-being of a child, they will determine what to do with that child, right? Where the father has to support, or the courts themselves, for the well-being of a child, the courts make the decision themselves.
Yeah, they
Plenty
determine.
of times they
Yeah,
have
they don't do it.
they put the child well-being before the
Yeah,
parents.
that's determined. That's to determine the state of in which they're going to like be living the livelihood of. They're not determining whether or not it's unalived or not.
The courts do it now.
No, they do not.
Illegal
No
abortion
court
is literally
determines.
that.
No, they do not. No court determines if you live or die because if you make more money. There's no
Literally,
court that does that.
literally, right? Illegal, making abortion illegal is literally that.
Dude, if no, it's not. If that's not what
Dude,
that
it's
is.
not. Well, what is what? Okay, then
No,
what's making abortion illegal, right? How's that not core? How's that not
because that
equal?
doesn't. If you make it illegal, there's reasonings as to why it's illegal outside of because you have more money.
Okay, you just no. See, you're again. I said the money part. It's more stability. The courts do that plenty of times right
Okay,
now,
dude, you're not
choosing
getting
the
it. It
stability of the
has
child
nothing.
before
No,
the
you're not
parents.
listening.
You can take out
Stability.
money. You can take out
That is
money.
for
I say
that is for
stability.
children that are already living. We're not
Yeah,
in
okay.
the case of
I've used
abortion.
two things, right?
That's you don't get
That
to.
idea,
No,
and
no,
we can
man,
make
no.
literally.
You do
You keep on
not
saying no means nothing. I
because you're
literally
not
give you two
listening to what's
examples
being said. You're
to
just
prove that,
yapping.
to
Like,
disprove that.
dude, you do. The difference here is in one case, you're talking about the livelihood of a living being. The other case, you're talking about whether or not you can unalive the being. One of these is one of these is an absurdity. That's not the same thing.
Do you not understand your argument? You literally, right, support abortion. Literally, the
Oh my,
ability
yeah,
to
you got it.
unalive
No,
something.
you're trolling. You're definitely trolling.
Well, then you could go. I mean, I'm not dying for it.